5 years ago, she left without a single word.
You came back. I never wanted to leave. Then why did you?
She was my past. Now she's my future. The Alien Queen's Return, HFY. 5 years. Ethan Cole had counted them the way you count something you're trying to stop counting. Automatically, against your will, the number surfacing every time the sky went a particular shade of purple at dusk, which happened more often than seemed fair. He had been 28 when she left. A junior Xenolinguist assigned to the first official cultural exchange between Earth and the Vareth Dominion. He had spent 14 months learning their language, their history, their intricate system of honor debts and royal protocols. He had been good at it, good enough that the Dominion's queen had requested him specifically as her personal interpreter. He had not expected to fall in love with her. He had not expected her to fall in love with him. And he had not expected her to disappear one morning without a word, leaving only a single Vareth phrase written on a slip of material that his translation software rendered as, "The thread remains, even when the needle moves on." He had spent 5 years trying to understand what that meant. Then, on a Tuesday in November, the Vareth fleet appeared over Earth. Not one ship, not a diplomatic vessel. The entire First Dominion fleet, 40 warships in perfect formation, their dark hulls catching the morning light and scattering it in purple and gold. Every military radar on Earth lit up simultaneously. Every emergency channel opened at once. Ethan was standing in his kitchen when his former supervisor called. "She's asking for you," was all she said. He was in a government transport within the hour, and standing in the main square of a city within 2, and looking up at the ship that had descended from the formation, smaller than the others, ceremonial rather than military, as its ramp extended toward the ground. She came down the ramp the way she did everything, like the world had been arranged for her arrival, and she was simply acknowledging it. Queen Vara of the Vareth Dominion was exactly as he remembered, and nothing like he had managed to hold in memory simultaneously. The purple-violet skin marked with its intricate dark line patterns. The pale ice eyes that looked at everything like they were reading it. The elaborate armor that made her look like war given elegant form, and the crown that made war look like art. The long dark locks that moved with her like a living thing. She stopped at the bottom of the ramp. Around him, government officials and military officers stood in tense, silent rows. Security forces had been positioned on every rooftop within range. The entire encounter was being broadcast live to every screen on the planet. Vara looked at none of them. She looked at Ethan. "You look older," she said, in perfect English. In 5 years she had learned his language. He had not known that. 5 years will do that, he said. Something moved in her pale eyes. "Walk with me," she said. He walked with her, away from the officials, away from the cameras, to the edge of the square where a low wall overlooked the city. Her guard detail followed at a distance that was close enough to protect and far enough to suggest this conversation was not theirs to hear. She looked out at the city for a long moment. "The Dominion Council voted to expand," she said. 3 years ago. The expansion path included your solar system." Ethan was quiet, processing this. "You stopped them," he said. "It was not a question." "I blocked the vote 4 times, she said. "The 5th time, they moved to remove me from the throne." She paused. "I won that vote. Narrowly. Is that why you're here with 40 warships?" "I am here with 40 warships," she said, "because the faction that tried to remove me has not given up, and I will not have them interpret a quiet arrival as weakness." She finally turned to look at him. "I am here because the treaty I have spent 3 years negotiating, the one that keeps your world permanently protected under Dominion law, requires a human signatory. Someone with diplomatic standing." "I haven't had diplomatic standing in 4 years, he said. "I left the program." "I know," she said. "Earth Command will reinstate it today if you agree." He looked at her. The pale eyes looked back, and underneath the cold authority of them, he recognized something he had spent 5 years trying to forget the shape of. "You could have sent a message," he said. "You could have asked Earth Command to find anyone." "Yes," she said simply. "You came yourself. With a whole fleet." "Yes." That seems like a significant use of resources for a paperwork request. The corner of her dark mouth moved, that specific almost not quite expression that he had learned in 14 months was as close as she came to letting herself laugh. "The treaty also requires," she said carefully, "a bonding clause. A formal alliance between a Dominion sovereign and a representative of the protected world. It is an old custom. It makes the protection permanent and unbreakable regardless of future council votes." Ethan was very still. "You wrote that clause," he said. "I did. Into an official galactic treaty." "It took considerable negotiation," she said. "The legal team was confused about several elements." He turned to face her fully. Behind them, 40 warships held position over the city. Around them, history waited. "Why did you leave?" he asked. 5 years ago. Why didn't you say anything?" She was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke, her voice was lower, stripped of the register of command, carrying instead the weight of someone who had carried something heavy for a long time. "Because I was not yet queen in my own right," she said. "I had the title and not the power. If the council had known, if they had seen that their queen had formed an attachment to a human, they would have used it. Against you. Against Earth. Against everything I was trying to build." She met his eyes. "I left to protect you. And then I spent 5 years making myself strong enough that no one could use you against me ever again." Ethan looked at her for a long time. The city spread out below them. The fleet held above. The morning light came through the clouds at a particular angle and made the purple in her skin catch the gold of it. "The treaty," he said finally. "The bonding clause." "Yes," she said. "Is it just political?" She looked at him with those pale eyes that had always seen everything. "No," she said quietly. "It is not just political." He nodded slowly. He looked at the city, then back at her. "I'm going to need my